Hi kids! Okay, today we're going to start on some castles. I'm showing you the finished drawing of what I'm going to do before I do it because sometimes the audio clips out some important words, and so I thought this might help. And that way, even if it's missing a word, you'll still have seen what it is I'm about to do. So this is castle number 1. We're going to use some basic shapes and then we're going to add some details. Let's start with the center. The center is going to be a square. Again, we are not worrying about straight lines. We're going to have 2 narrow vertical rectangles on either side. And then come out past each of these because we're going to add that up, down tops to each of these. Cheated a little bit there at the end. Takes a lot of concentration. Okay. And now we're going to add the structures on top of each of these. So let's start with the one in the center. I'm going to have 2 lines come out from the top. And then I'm going to have let me make it a little bit taller. And then I'm going to have a triangle that goes past that. Find your center. Up. Down. I'm going to put a triangle here, but you're going to have a line from here and a line from, make that go past that so your triangle will fit. A line from there. Smaller triangle. And bring the other side down. It's going to touch the castle. Alright, let's add the lines across the top. You don't have to add these, but it would have been made of stone or wood. And then it's going to have these lines that come down to touch the building that it's on. This is just sort of like a support piece. These don't have to be perfect, but you just want something there. Okay, now you're going to need to put some windows in here, but the windows aren't typically too big in a castle. Skinny rectangles are fine. Actually, that one would be visible right there. It came down, so that's interesting. That one would. And then you're going to have some additional windows. So I'm going to do a different kind of window, a base like that I'm going to make stone, and then a top. So the stone will have lines, and the top will just be an arc. So let's do that again over here. So the base is going to be a rectangle with lines, and then you have an arc for the window. Okay, so we can add an additional line under each of these, again, if you want to. It just helps it to have a little bit more of like an architectural look. And we can add the flag. Pull up, come down a little bit, part of the flag that connects there, and then a little flourish. Now let's put the door on and then some windows around it. So I'm going to make the door this wide curved shape kind of like this. I don't really know what to call that. But again, 2 lines because it's going to have a stone look to it. The keystone at the top and these down the sides. Center of the door. You can give it vertical lines, you can give it horizontal lines. I think I'm going to give it beams with bolts. Bolt, 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 and then, I don't know, handle? Door handle? And then let's put some more windows. I think for these I'm going to make them a little bit taller. And then I'm going to do 3 here. If your castle looks different than mine, that's fantastic. When I was looking at castles to get ideas, there were so many types of castles. It was amazing. They're so unique. Okay, now on this, I darkened in the windows and I added a line for the horizon and a line for like the pathway or whatever that leads to the castle. So I'm not going to show you darkening these in, but it's an option. I also double lined all of those. But I am going to show you how to do the horizon line. I'm going to bring a line up to meet the castle. Imagine that it goes behind the castle and comes out the other side. Above it is sky, below it is ground. And then you want to make a line that comes from the door out. Get to where you can really see the bottom. And then make sure that down here it is wider than it is up here, because this is closer to you. So even if you have to put a little mark to aim for, that is fine. And then you have something that feels like it's approaching you. Okay, I'm going to change my piece of paper. The next castle that I do is going to be a little bit more complex. If you want to draw along with me, get a fresh paper. We'll be right back. Hi kids. Okay, so here's the idea for the next one. It's a little bit more vertical, so I held my paper vertical. You don't have to do that. And it looks more complicated, but it isn't really. It's still just line by line. So I'm going to move this off to the side and show you how to make this basic drawing. All right, so for starters, the 2 pillars on the side are wider at the bottom than they are at the top. If you did the lighthouse drawing with me, you might remember that as, just generally being a man-made structure, and that would be for stability. So you want lines kind of like that. And now you're going to close them at the bottom with a curve. And put a curve here and here. And now it lines out. Not too wide, not too tall. Connect with a curve. And now you're going to go straight up into the up, down, up, down. I don't really know what to call that castle stone thing. There's one there. And there's one there. Okay. There we go. All right, and then I'm going to put this part right in here. So I'm going to start by determining where my door is going to go, and then I'm going to make the lines go to that. And that's just because I'm going to recess the door a little bit. So I'm going to put my door here. And you remember doing that double line from the last one. And then I'm going to put the line for the door back a little bit. That stone, the keystone, holds the arc together. It's a really important stone because it pushes the weight in both directions, and it's also where the keystone state because we held the colonies together, which is kind of interesting. Okay, and then for this one I did vertical lines down to kind of represent the wood of this door. I made this one in the middle a little thicker so you could see it, and I still gave it the door handles. All right, now across here I did 2 lines, and then above it the stone, and now out of here there was some additional buildings. So just, you know, understanding castles, sometimes they'd have an exterior wall, and inside there would be like sometimes even lots of homes or a town, but, you know, dwelling. So I'm going to put some stuff in here, and then I'm going to add the treatment to the tops of everything. So I'm going to start with 2 lines here. Two curved lines. This one is a little bit different because it doesn't have the stone. It goes up into the first of these peaks, and I want to show you how I'm doing the peak. So the last time you just made a triangle, that's totally fine. Let me see if I can focus this better. But these are going to kind of taper in a little bit, and they're a little taller. So I'm going to find my middle, and then I'm going to kind of curve line to each side. That one did not go well at all, but what are you going to do? And I actually think I have a double line here too. Okay, so let's do that for these two. There's going to be a line up, line past, find the middle, curved line up on each side. That one's better. And there. And double it. Okay. Now, from here there was a building. This is going to be a line out from the side, diagonal line down, line back to meet it, that's the roof, line down for the wall, and then in there will be some windows. You're going to make that up down line here, and then drop down for another wall, and then the bridge part in the distance here. So let's have this come out from here. Down. Arc that goes like a rainbow. And then the zigzaggy up-down thing across. And now we're going to put a top of one of these here. So it's going to start with a kind of taper in. Just remember, these tapered in, just gently. There. A line here. A taper out. A line here. Straight up. The up, down, up, down. The 2 lines inside. curve up to the top, double the line. You are getting the hang of this. Okay, now I added a bunch of windows to this. I'm actually thinking I might just do that in fast forward because you can add your own windows your own way and it's not that important for the structure. So I'll be right back after adding my windows. Okay, so I put in some windows. Maybe I'll put one more in here just to kind of show you. I'm doing a long, tall triangle with a slightly wider line at the base. Rectangle, not triangle. It's been a long day. With a line at the base. And then you remember these from the last video. You can put your windows in anywhere you want. The last thing I want to show you is how to handle these tops. So with this, I'm making a concentric curved line up, and then I'm giving it like a brick style treatment, which means the blocks and bricks don't sit directly on top of each other, they alternate. So if this one has lines here, the next one will have lines in between them. And not all lines are going to be visible to you because sometimes they'll curve out of your field of view. So you're really only adding lines that you would be able to see. So once again, concentric curved lines up to the top. If I put 3 at the bottom, then well, maybe I can fit 3 on the next one, but they're in different places. And then this one I can fit 2. I can fit 2 on the next one, but they're in different places, only where my eye would be able to see them. I'm going to pop them in here. My son is listening or watching Odd Squad. You can probably hear it. Okay, and then for the flag. Pole. I make this curved line because the flag touches at the top and bottom. And then if you want to make a slightly more complicated flag, you make a curve. And then you make a curve that parallels it. And then kind of that like split snake tongue looking opening where it's got a triangle cut out. So once again, pole, curve, dip down, opening. They should all blow in the same direction because if it's blowing in the wind will blow them all the same way. Now, on this one, I put it on kind of a hill. A lot of times castles would need to be a lookout, so they'd be high up. You don't have to do that, right? But I'll give it a little bit of hill action. And then I will do the walkway again, down and wider at the bottom. Okay, I'm going to do one more castle. If you want to sit tight, you're welcome to. Otherwise, I know you have your windows to add, coloring to do. Your castle might be by the ocean. It might have a dragon. You know, so many fun things you can do with these. So sit tight with me if you want to draw some more. All right, kids, so the next one is going to have the moat and the drawbridge and some of the items that you have gotten pretty good at already. So sit tight, you're going to hold the next paper landscape. Okay, so here we go. So the pillar that's closest to us is going to be what we start with. We're going to have a curved line for the bottom. up, up, up a little higher than that, out for the rounded top, and then those curves up. You might remember this from the first one. Lines down. Now when you go this direction and you're going to have room for the door, you remember that we don't go the whole way because the door stops. The wall continues. Now let's make the other side of the wall, but to do that I'm going to make the stone top. Making it kind of parallel to this line. Now, because we make one more, are looking down at it, and we're doing it with that kind of authenticity, we're going to double each of these lines. So I promise I won't do all of these in real time. Eventually I'll go to fast forward because it takes a while. But I want to show you how to do it. Each line goes out in the same direction to the back. This gives you the top view of that stone. And now you're going to connect each of those. It's a good idea to be working in pencil because if you accidentally connect the wrong two, you can just erase it. And then each one of the back pieces comes down. And I wish I could kind of zoom in. I'm making kind of like an L shape down, and then if this part is visible, I'm making that little connecting piece. So you have the top view of the stones. And now this pillar isn't as visible as this one is because half of it is back here. So when we make this one, we'll come up to here, and then this part is back here. And these. Okay, I'm going to put this out here and another one of these here. I'm going to do it in fast forward and then I'll be right back. Okay, so now I have the foundation for the outer walls. I'm going to add additional buildings inside and a connective wall in the areas between them that's visible, but I want to show you how to make the door and the drawbridge. So for your door, you remember you put your door back a little bit and then you give it any kind of door you want. And then for this one I did a different kind of stone. I did stones visible, kind of interlocking style, like this. And the drawbridge, not sure it was too common in real castles, but we love it. And you're going to have two parts here and here on either side of the door, and they're going to kind of release that pulley system, right? So they have to be a little bit wider than the door. And now, follow my logic. If these come down here to the ground, this part and these can't be taller than the wall, because that won't make any sense, right? When the drawbridge is up, it would just block this area, this door. So you're going to make the lines here, but not out too far. Here. Here, giving you a reasonable cover. So this will come to here. This will come to here. That should have gone out there, but oh well. And then now we have a little drawbridge. And that means that your ground has to start like right around here, right? You want to have area for your moat, but you also want this to touch the ground. So your ground would have to start here. And then the way you handle that is up to you. Like this whole thing can be water, or this can wrap around and sort of do like that idea of the moat where it goes right over the castle. Okay, back to the windows, right? Rounded. And the round bottom is following the curve of the pillar. Okay, now we're going to put some buildings inside here. So I'm going to start with the one that's closest to us because then I can build back behind it. So let's do one here. I'm just going to do the top and kind of work my way down this time. I'll put one here. And I'll put one here. You can put yours anywhere you want, and you don't even have to have these. But if you don't have something, you'll just deal with more back wall. It should have come out wider, but you get the idea. Okay, I'm going to put wall here, here, and here, because these would be visible. So remember, it's the up, down, the lines back from it, the lines that connect, and then the lines down and maybe over if you see enough. Let's see, this one would probably be going this way. Let's put it here. Not a lot there to see. And then not a lot here to see either. Okay. And now I'm going to put in some windows. I'll fast forward for that and I'll be right back. Okay, so let's do one of these flags. The only thing I added for this flag was the ball And we can keep these flags kind of simple because we have a lot going on with the moat and the drawbridge. And then for your castle can sit right in the water. You might remember the water lines from the lighthouse drawing and from the birds standing in the water. If you don't want it sitting right in the water, you just need to add a little bit of like a rocky base for it to sit on. Like this. And then your water line can go around that. Okay, and then I'll add my ground cover here. This could be like a little road, maybe, if I want it to be. And then you can have whatever kind of detail you want back here for your, maybe mountains, hills in the distance, city in the distance. This is going to be water. You can have that shoreline kind of thing happen where this comes down and breaks up here, right? Water. And there's definitely crocodiles or sharks or something living in this water. It's so cool looking. All right, I hope you have enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, kiddos.